I just returned home from TexSom where I tasted wine for basically 12 hours a day for 2 days straight. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 of my favorite wines from those tastings that sell for around $30 a bottle, and 2 of them sell for actually closer to $25 a bottle. All of these wines are wines that you can enjoy immediately, but they will also age for a few years as well, so they give you quite a bit of flexibility. There's 4 different countries and 5 different regions represented, and there's both red wine and sparkling wine. I have not mentioned any of these wines in any of my previous videos, and all the producers except for one are also producers that I've never mentioned before. So I'm pretty excited about these picks. This first wine comes from Piemonte and is a special wine that was traditionally drunk only at festivals or special occasions. There's less than 30 producers that make this wine, and there's less than 150 hectares of this grape that are planted. The Bava family has grown grapes in the Costagnole Monferrato territory for more than 400 years and producing wine in that region for more than 100 years. Now run by the 4th generation, Bava produces the first of my top wines that sell for around $30 per bottle that I discovered at TexSom, namely the 2020 Bava Ruchè Castagnole Monferrato DOCG. The suggested retail price on this wine is only $25, so this one is an absolute screaming bargain at that price. But this wine is 100% Ruchè, and Ruchè can only be made in 7 different municipalities in Monferrato. This was my first exposure to Ruchè, and I would describe it as a fairly aromatic wine. I detected descriptors that included roses, violets, blackberry, raspberry, and an intriguing white pepper descriptor that I really enjoyed. Despite low overall acidity, there is quite a bit of freshness to this wine, and I discovered that that was due to the fact that it has a relatively high proportion of malic acid. But as I was at the table enjoying this wine, a master of wine came up to me, and she was both surprised and impressed that I was enjoying this wine, since there were much more expensive wines on the table. But this is a wine that she absolutely loves as well, and was raving about it. This wine is extremely enjoyable on release, and you can enjoy it for up to 5 years or so. It's very rare to be able to get such a unique, soulful wine for only $25 a bottle, so this one is an absolute no-brainer. For those requesting wine recommendations from Australia for producers other than Penfolds and Torbreck, this next wine is for you. Better still, this wine sells for only $26 a bottle. This wine comes from the Margaret River, which is located in southwest Australia. The Margaret River region is surrounded on 3 sides by water, and one of those bodies of water is the Indian Ocean, which is very warm and thus provides warming influences to Margaret River, and this helps to ensure that Cabernet Sauvignon thrives and does quite well in Margaret River. So the next top wine for around $30 a bottle is the 2020 Xanadu Vinework Cabernet Sauvignon, which comes from Margaret River. This is a delightful, fruit-forward Cabernet Sauvignon that also includes 5% of each Cabernet Franc and Petit Verdot. Descriptors for this wine included blackberry, raspberry, bay leaf, herbs, and then a little bit of chocolate as well. It's definitely a wine that emphasizes the fruit, but this fruit was enjoyable because it was not overly sweet. This wine matures in 30% new French oak for around 14 months. 2020 was a bit of a challenging vintage in Margaret River, but yet this wine turned out extremely well. So I would definitely keep an eye out for it in other vintages too. So there's definitely nothing talismanic about the 2020 vintage. This is a wine that you can enjoy immediately or at any time over the next 3 or 4 years. For those who appreciate Cabernet Sauvignon that is fruit-forward and ready to consume immediately, this is definitely a wine that you want to consider. With champagne prices continuing to explode in price, it's always nice to have some less costly alternatives. This next wine is an excellent Franciacorta, which is also produced using the traditional method where the secondary fermentation takes place in bottle. Brogni Patsini was founded way back in 1870 and is one of the first producers in Franciacorta. Brogni Patsini emphasizes natural farming and low-intervention winemaking. For example, with this excellent Franciacorta, they used only 5% malolactic fermentation. So the next top wine for around $30 a bottle is the Brogni Patsini Animante Franciacorta Extra Brut. This impressive Franciacorta is a blend that consists of 78% Chardonnay 18% Pinot Nero, and 4% Pinot Bianco. The fruit for this wine is sourced from 25 different estate vineyards that are located all over Franciacorta, and the vines for which average around 20 years of age or so. Descriptors included citrus, stoned fruit, toast, smokiness, and a minerality that I enjoyed. Definitely shop around for this wine, however, as I saw prices ranging wildly, anywhere from a low of $25 a bottle to way over $70 a bottle or more. But I did see many establishments that sold it for around $30. If you're interested in wine recommendations, wine collecting strategies, and learning more about wine, please do subscribe to my channel. I've been collecting wine for more than 15 years and also have a level 4 diploma from the WSET. So I have both formal certification as well as substantial practical knowledge from the School of Hard Knocks. Despite receiving substantial critical acclaim, the 2021 Zuccardi Concreto Malbec, which comes from Uco Valley, sells for right around $30 a bottle. In fact, this wine was the number 43 overall wine in the Wine Spectator Top 100 for 2022. It's a wine that you can buy consistently and with confidence each and every vintage, but I particularly enjoy this 2021 vintage. The Concreto is 100% Malbec, and these Malbec grapes are grown on a selection of chalky soils from Zuccardi Estate Vineyards in Altamira. As the name suggests, Concreto is matured in 100% concrete, so there's no oak used to mature this wine. The result is an emphasis on purity of the fruit. I detected red, blue, and black fruit. There are also some herbs in the wine, and it's just a really gorgeous wine and one that offers spectacular value for around $30 per bottle. I discovered the next wine for $30 a bottle when I was tasting with Christophe Barone. Christophe Barone is one of the pioneers of the Walla Walla wine region, and he planted the first vineyard in the Rocks district way back in 1997. In addition to pouring his own wines, Christophe Barone is friends with this next producer, and so he was pouring her wines as well. Meredith Hislop has been working in the wine business for many years and recently started producing her own wines. The label for her wines is aptly known as Top Source. This is so because Meredith produces her wines from some extremely high-quality vineyard sources throughout Washington. The red wine, for example, comes from a blend of fruit that comes from Yakima, Red Mountain, and Walla Walla. While she's not able to reveal the names of the suppliers for this fruit, they're extremely high-quality sources, and I will note that with respect to the Walla Walla portion of that fruit, I was tasting this wine next to the Cayuse and No Girls and Horsepower wines, and I observed substantial similarities. And so certainly anyone who is a fan of the Cayuse wines would definitely want to consider the Top Source red wine as well. The Top Source red wine is a blend of Grenache and Syrah that sells for only around $29 a bottle. You may need to do a little bit of digging to track this one down, and while I typically like to tout wines that have widespread availability on this channel, I definitely wanted to make sure that I gave everyone a chance to purchase this one as well, as it's certainly a screaming bargain and definitely one that's substantially underpriced. Top Source also has a Sauvignon Blanc that sells for only $22 a bottle, and it's made in more of a restrained style, which I appreciate.